On the short bite, which number or numbers do you want to see? Do you go over, have questions about? Show me on your hand. Wow. Oh, that's my spot. See, a lot of 2s and 5s. If you are a 4, raise your hand. We'll do 2, 4, and 5 today. I cannot yell over you guys, so I need you not to talk over me.
Sorry.
Sam.
Alright, for intercepts, you're looking for where does it cross the x and y axis. -1 would be your x-intercept. Your y-intercept would be at -3. So the points were to help you find slope, but not all the points were given for the x and y intercept. So you have to find where does it cross the y-axis.
If I just put x equals -1 and then y is -3,
That would be half credit. You need to write them as order pairs. Right, number 4. We needed to solve this for x, so we could distribute. Here, you could see what type of solution this is going to give us because we have different constants. What type of solution would that be? No solution. So you could stop there and say it's no solution, or you could keep going. Either you got this, or you moved one of them to the other side. Either way, this is no solution. Questions on that one? And then number 5. If we are isolating the absolute value, you have to get rid of 3 by subtracting. When the absolute value is isolated and it equals a negative number, what happens?
It can't be.
It cannot be solved. So if you kept solving, erase all of that work. Questions on that? What were you about to say? So we are going to now review for as much time as possible today, and then we'll continue reviewing tomorrow and possibly Monday.
When is the test?
The test for you guys is next Thursday, Friday. The quiz is Tuesday.
So it's gonna go in this quarter grade? Both the quiz and the
It's finalized.
So everyone should have a review on your desk.
I did.
Sorry.
We can either do this like we did the last review and do it by objective, or we can do it by pages. Which would you rather? Pages or objective? Now, the graphing, there's not as many graphing. Some of them are like the equation for the graphs, and then we figure that out. So there's not as many as the graphing, but we will go through those. Right. So with slope, starting with the first objective, on the first page, numbers 1 through 5. Really 1 through 9. All of those are slope intercept questions. Which of those do we have questions about? Want to see, want to do, want to go over? 1 through 9.
7.
Any others?
5.
5. So we'll start with those two. So with number 5, we're finding our slope using our slope formula. I'm going to write that off to the side, but this is something we need to remember. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Label them if you need to. So we have negative 2 minus 7 over negative 11 minus negative 11. Then we simplify. So we have what over what? Negative 9 over, what was that? 0. Anything over 0 is what? Undefined. So this slope would be undefined. Questions on that before we move on to 7? Number 7 is asking us to identify the slope and y-intercept. So it's in slope and intercept form already. We just have to know what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. So in this format, what is the slope?
Negative 3 over 1.
Negative 3. You can just simplify. And what's the y-intercept?
0.
0. That would be it. Questions on that one or any other questions 1 through 9?
Wait, can you do number 4?
Okay, so this is 1/4, negative 3/4, negative 1/2, and 5/6, just in case you couldn't see that. The same process that we did for number 5, we're going to do for number 4. 5/6 minus negative 3/4 all over negative 1/2 minus 1/4.
Wait, why do you have parentheses? Why do you have negative 3 over 4 in parentheses?
Because it's
Same reason we had parentheses around the negative 11. Because it's a minus and a negative.
Oh.
So before we can start to simplify, we have to get common denominators for both the numerator fractions and the denominator fractions. What's a number these both go into?
That's okay.
24 works. There's one smaller than 12. So you can do either or. 24 will give you bigger fractions, but you could do it. Or you could do 12 and you'll have smaller fractions. So to get 12, you multiply this by 2, multiply this also by 2. To get 12 on this side, multiply both sides by 3. To get these to be the same, I could just change one of the fractions to be 4 by multiplying it by 2. And then let's change everything. So we have 10 over 12 plus, because of the negative and the minus, 9 over 12 all over negative 2 over 4 minus 1 over 4. So then we can combine the numerator fractions and the denominator fractions. I'm going to put that somewhere up here because I don't have space. We have 19 twelfths over negative 3/4. This is the part that you can either do by hand or do in the calculator, so I'll show you by hand and then show you in the calculator. Take the bottom fraction and flip it. multiply it to both the denominator fraction and the numerator fraction. And if you did that, you would get negative 19 ninths. If you were doing this part in the calculator, you would go into alpha y equals. Do it again, alpha y equals. Go all the way to the bottom and do it again, alpha y equals. And put in the entire fraction. But if you don't do it exactly as I did, you will not get negative 19 ninths. Questions on that one?
On the stove, I did the same thing, but I didn't get that. I got 19 over 16.
You didn't put in the exact same thing.
Over 19 divided by 12 and then
So, start over. Alpha y equals.
alpha y equals.
Do it again. And go all the way to the bottom and do it again. Your line that's separating the two fractions is probably here or here. Not directly in the middle. That's why I didn't divide correctly.
So alpha y.
Other questions in 1 through 9 on this page? Not the back of this page, but the next page that looks like this. All of these questions are slope questions, numbers 1 through 6. Do you have any questions on this page we want to see you go over on question 1? On this page, all of these, numbers 1 through 6. So if you're not on this page, make sure you're on this page. Oh. Any questions on any of those? Two, 4, 6, 7, 6. There's only 6. I don't know why I said that. But yes, you're going to do that. Okay. Number 4 is similar to the number 5 we just did. If we were to label these, this would be -2 minus -2 all over 3 minus 13. If we simplify these, what would we get?
Oh, 0 divided by 10.
Negative 10.
Negative.
But 0 divided by anything is what?
0. Oh, that's fine. Oh, well, yeah. Same thing. Sorry.
If
But
the
it'll be in the numerator. Yeah.
If it was switched. If the 0 is in the denominator, it's undefined. But if it's in the numerator, it's 0. You could always test it. You could put this in your calculator. It's either going to give you 0 or error. Yes.
Will we, if we have problems like this, do we have to show our work to
Yes.
So if you like type this in the calculator, would it give you the answer?
Say that one more time.
Like if you type this in the calculator.
If you type 0 over -13, it's going to give you 0. Or if you type in -13 over 0, it's going to give you error, which is undefined.
Wait, can you scroll over? Alright.
Okay. For number 6, we need to figure out which of these equations has a slope of 1/4 and a y-intercept of -2. So I'm going to write that as an equation first. Y equals 1/4 x minus 2 is our end goal. One of these equations is going to become that. Now, really we would just need to start solving this to figure that out. If you wanted to eliminate this, I know that when I subtract 4x here, I'm not going to get a fraction. So it's not going to be C or D. So it would have to be A or B. And then we just have to figure out which one. So if we think it's A, we would need to subtract x. And divide everything by -4. That matches, so that would be our answer. If it didn't match, B would be our answer.
Wait, what is that one? Like -4y equals what?
Equals -x plus 8.
Oh, okay, negative.
And then, not on the back of this page, but on the next page that looks like this. There are really just two that are with slope number 12 and number 15. Do we have questions on either of those? Sure. So with 12, I'm sorry, this one's intercepts, not slope. So we'll hold off on that one. But with 15, if we're thinking about our Poibucks, because this is an x equals. Hold on one second. Okay. If you remember your Poibucks, and this is an x equals, what would the slope be?
Is that a U after the V?
U.
Oh, okay.
So it would be undefined. So if you don't know your Poibucks, these problems you're going to miss these.
Wait, why
You
is it
need to know your
undefined?
Poibucks. What?
Why is it undefined?
Because vertical lines have undefined slope, and this is an x equals.
Oh, it doesn't have a y.
Okay. We will probably have time to do a few of the intercept problems, and then tomorrow we'll finish intercepts, go on to graphing, and go on to linear transformations.
So this
If we have time. So go back to the first page. The bottom two, 10 and 11, are intercept questions. Do we have questions on either?
Can you remember that?
11, sure. This is asking for the zeros. Zeros is another word for what?
Nothing.
So in this case, if it's talking about intercepts, zeros is another word for which intercept?
Why?
Wait, where?
One of the intercepts.
X.
X. Zeros is another word for intercepts. What are some of the other words for X intercepts? Zeros is one. There are two others. Solutions is another. And roots.
Oh,
So solutions, zeros, roots are all x-intercepts. So if you see any of those words, you need to be thinking x-intercepts. So if 11 is asking us to find the zeros, it's asking us to find the x-intercepts by plotting them. So this point and this point. Zeros does not mean all of your intercepts, just the x-intercepts.
What do you got on 11, right? 11 or 10?
11. On the next page, 14, 15, 18, and 19 are all intercept questions. Do we have questions on any of those? I'm going to rewrite this because it's hard to see. It says f of x equals x to the fourth minus 8x to the third plus 5x squared plus 14x.
Oh.
So this one you would put in your calculator. So let's do this one. Go into y equals. If there's something there, clear it out, or you could just reset the whole calculator. Second plus 712. And then we're going to type this in. X to the fourth minus 8x to the third plus 5x squared plus 14x.
Wait, how did you do that?
Wait,
how do you-
put the 4?
Use this little carrot hat.
Oh,
The up.
Wait, how do you like restart a calculator?
Second plus 712.
So you click y equals and then
Y equals, and then you type this in. Yes.
we already got the x one. Like you click
Press
alpha.
this button.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Calculator for the test numbers. This one is calculator. I want to say the next one is as well. There is a mixture of non-calculator parts, non-calculator tests. Okay. So then you would go into the graph. If yours does not look like this, you may want to reset your calculator and type it in again. But then it's asking for the zero, so I can see where these cross at -1, at 0, at 2, and at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So those would be the 4 zeros that I would write down.
I just let you graph and it like says error.
Make sure you're putting minus, not negative, in the y equals. If that's not it, you will need to reset the calculator because there's stuff in other places. Okay, we'll have to do one more and then we'll stop for today. Not the back of, nope. Not the next page or the back of that page, but the Numbers 11, 12, 13, 16, and 17 are all intercepts. Which of those do we want to see you go over? How questions about?
17.
Are there any others? I will keep note of all of these and we can start with whatever on that page. The 17 is another one that you would put in a calculator.
But you can't solve that by yourself?
Because you don't have the tools to do so. So x to the third plus 3x squared minus x minus 3. And then graph that. And it's asking which is not a 0. So 0 is talking about which intercept?
Oh, X.
X. If I'm looking at the x-axis, I see there's one at -2. Sorry, one at -3, one at -1, and one at 1. So which one is not a 0? Positive 3.
Wait, not a 0 means below 0 or mean?
Not a 0 means not an x-intercept.
So,
So 3 was the only one that did not cross the x-axis. Okay. Hold on to this for tomorrow. We will continue. If there's anything that we've gone over so far that did not make sense, please come see me after school today. If you still need to work on retake stuff, come see me after school today. Make sure you're working on your Delta Math and linear transformations practice that is due tomorrow.